Max Holloway is going to beat Dustin Poirier at UFC 318. Listen, man, I love this fight. I get all the complaints about the BMF title, and I get it all. But the point is, this is Legends only, dog. This is Legends only. This is Max Holloway's first fight in the UFC was against DP. DP's last fight is going to be Max. It has an unbelievable storyline to it. It's the last dance. This is the last dance for DP, man. And we know he's going in there against a guy that is going to stand in front of him. They are going to kickbox for 25 minutes or as long as the fight lasts. What more could you ask for to go out with a bang if you're DP? But he's not going to win the fight. He's not going to win the fight, man. And I've been watching a bunch of film in preparation for this. And look, I'm a massive fan of both of these guys. I feel like we all are, right? If you're a fight fan, I mean, these are two absolute legends of the sport, two OGs, two guys that are some of the best strikers we've ever seen in UFC history. And I understand that Poirier is up 2-0 against Max. I get that. But here's the problem. I tried to find reasons to pick DP. I'm not going to lie, I did. But the problem is Max is not the same fighter that fought Dustin Poirier those two times, right? And the first one, you could pretty much throw that out the window. Both guys were really young, right? So there's not a whole lot you could take from that. In the rematch, there's some things we could take from that. And what I take from that is Dustin Poirier, he's damn near the same exact fighter, right? Maybe some things have gotten a little sharper, rounded out his game a little bit more, maybe a little bit more crisp and clean with the boxing, you know? But the problem is Max Holloway is such a different fighter. That's the problem, right? Max Holloway is incredibly elusive. He's fast in there. And we've seen Dustin Poirier towards the later part of his career. I know he fought tooth and nail with Islam Makhachev, which was incredibly impressive. Very, very impressive. But when he got head kick KO'd against Justin Gaethje, it's not the KO that, it was like, you got caught with a head kick. Poirier was fighting pretty well in that fight, right? And it was all this, hype coming into it, the BMF fight. We know it's going to be a car crash because the first time between the two, it was crazy. Max Holloway doesn't fight like that anymore. And I know Max Holloway's coming off of a KO loss. The first time getting KO'd in his professional career against Ilia Topuria, who I warned you Max fans, right? I told you, I said, brace yourselves, he's getting knocked the hell out by Ilia. Right? Max is a good striker, not a better boxer than Ilia. That's your best attribute coming into a fight with Ilia, you got problems. But Max actually had some really good moments in that fight. And Max doesn't fight the same way that he fought Dustin back in the second meeting. Max just doesn't mosey forward looking to put volume on you the whole time. Max is very elusive, on the back foot, skating and moving around the octagon side, moving forward, moving backward, moving laterally. He's a totally different fighter. Dustin Poirier is the same guy. He's the same guy, man. Go back and watch the rematch. It's the same. DP's the same. What's changed? Buzz cut's a little tighter, maybe a few more tats, some more swag. Stylistically, Max is a serious problem for Dustin Poirier, man. He is. And listen, the storyline of DP going out on top and winning, and I get it all. And it'd be great. It sucked to see Max lose. That's why I hated when the UFC booked this fight. Because I'm like, I don't want to see either guy lose. But when we're being honest and we're looking at the film, right? Max Holloway came up to 155 pounds, fought Justin Gaethje to win the BMF title. That was the best version of Max Holloway we have ever seen. It was the best version. And I know people go, he fought Calvin Kattar. Not really, right? He beat the hell out of Calvin Kattar for sure, but the advances that I saw in the game of Max against Justin Gaethje, that's what I'm talking about. It's just going to be a problem for Dustin because if you go back and watch the second Gaethje versus Poirier fight, I noticed something about Dustin that became very, very visible to me, and that is the fact that he gets frustrated when you scoot and move on the outside and do not engage into a barn burner with him. You don't just sit in front of Poirier and just box in the pocket, have those little clinch exchanges, and you're not just standing in the center. Poirier gets frustrated. He does, because then he's got to hunt you down. He's got to move forward. He's got to try to head you off. Just like what Max did to Gaethje is exactly what Gaethje was doing to Poirier in the second fight. You could see Dustin getting a little frustrated because Gaethje didn't fight like the Gaethje the first time those two met, right? Gaethje was floating around on the back foot, making Dustin come to him, fighting smart, being a lot more patient. That gave Dustin some issues. And I understand styles make fights. Max is coming off of a KO loss. So, people are going to write Max off a little bit here. Right? Got KO'd by the pound-for-pound top fighter in the sport right now. It's just one of those things where styles make fights. And I know that these guys have histories, but Max is a totally different fighter than the last time these guys fought, man. And I know DP's out there still. He's still got it, man. He's absolutely still got it. I feel like DP could continue fighting for sure. But Max Holloway and what we saw from him when he committed to the lightweight move against Justin Gaethje was, I think, the best version of Max that we have ever seen. I've said for the longest time, Max should stay at 55. That should be his weight class. I wanted to see him fight Ilia Topuria because it was a great fight, but I'm like, this isn't the move. Stay at 55. Max looked great at 55. His frame filled out. He was bigger. He was stronger. He was fast. He frustrated Gaethje with speed. His timing was just a step ahead the whole fight. He's going to do the same thing to Dustin. Now, I understand that Dustin is a better boxer, and I'd say I know he got caught with a head kick, but I think he's a better striker than Gaethje. I think we can all agree on that. And in the second meeting between Poirier and Max, we saw Dustin landing some devastating shots on Max Holloway, for sure. But a couple things to keep in mind. Max moved up to 55 there, right when he was the 45 champ, hadn't fought at 55, packed on some unnecessary weight to where he was muffin top Max, right? This is a different Max Holloway. It is, and I'm expecting the best version of Max that we've ever seen. I honestly am. Okay, so what? He got knocked out by Ilia, so what? Who's not getting knocked out by Ilia at this point? Right? Max Holloway's footwork, his elusiveness, the way that he kind of pot shots from the outside, the way that he cuts these angles and doesn't engage in these barn burners, unless it's the last 10 seconds in round number 5, which you got to be careful there because we saw him knock out Gaethje. But he's not going to play into the whole, we got a war here. It's Poirier's last dance. Like, I think he's going to go in there and look to entertain, but Max is going to fight smart. He's going to stick and move from the outside, utilize footwork, weaponize his speed, because I do think that he is going to have a significant speed advantage over Dustin in this fight. For sure. And maybe, I think you could definitely give Dustin the power advantage, but given the power that we saw from Holloway when he went up and fought Gaethje, I was beyond impressed. Pack that with footwork, speed, power, and accuracy. That's what we're looking at here for Max Holloway. And as good of a boxer as DP is, I think he's a better overall boxer than Max Holloway. Max has made just too many adjustments to his style to where I feel like DP is just going to be behind the whole night. I think he is. And of course, he's got the power to where if he can eat a shot, step in, land a good shot, because those shifting combinations that Poirier was throwing in fight number 2 against Max, they were landing all night long. They were. Big winging left hand down the middle. That was catching the chin of Max Holloway. But these guys are at 2 different points right now. Dustin Poirier, I understand it's the last dance. You're coming in motivated. You're coming in. You want to lay it on the line. DP looks like he's in tremendous shape. All those things. But it's hard for me to see him winning this fight, man. It just is, because if we see the Max that we saw fight Gaethje at 155, that's filled out into the lightweight frame, a guy that is going to have that confidence, has probably more durability at 155. Than he's ever had at 45 throughout his career. I just think that this is a problem for Dustin this time around. I do, and I absolutely think Dustin, he's completely capable of winning this fight. I think he's the better boxer. Right, and he's going to have the crowd on his side, all the emotions, knowing it's his last one, all those different things. I think that's a good thing and a bad thing, right? You're like, well, this is the last one, kind of where's your head at? But I think that that's something that benefits Dustin coming into this fight for sure. I think he'll be motivated, wanting to go out on top, of course. But I'm telling you right now, the difference between the second meeting, because like I said, the first one was so long ago, hard to really look at that, where DP was able to submit Max. But if you look at it stylistically, Holloway's a completely different fighter. He's a completely different fighter. Poirier's the same guy. He is. And that's what this comes down to for me. Now, how does Max bounce back, right? A guy that felt like he was probably invincible, never thought he would get KO'd, had the granite chin, still has a really good chin. How does that affect him? Where's his confidence going to be at? I think he's going to have a lot of confidence coming into this fight. Knowing what he was able to do at 55 when he committed to the move against Justin Gaethje, frustrated him with speed, footwork, timing, and I think that's exactly what he's going to do to Dustin in this fight. Now, I could very much see where Max's volume, he's going to have a lot more sting behind his shots. I could see him TKOing Dustin in this fight. I'd love to see a 25-minute classic, back and forth, crazy exchanges. Guys are, just laying it all out there, and we go to the judges' scorecards and we have an all-time classic. That's what I'm hoping for. But I don't know that we get that. I don't know that we get that, man, because in the MMA world, there are no fairy tale endings, very rarely at least. And I think this is one of those where it's like we'll be happy for Max to win because he's going to stick around for a few more years, try to make a run at 55, which is something new. DP's a legend, an OG. We want to see him go out on top. But the MMA game, it's a cruel one. I think Max Holloway wins at UFC 318.